For the last lesson in this chapter, I want to discuss how to present modal views on the iPad. The iPhone allows you to present modal views as we've seen, but they're always full screen, so when you present a view controller modally, it completely obscures the content below it. This option exists on the iPad as well, but it also provides some alternate ways of presenting modal content. Currently, we only have the music list and detail views ported over. We won't have time to port our search UI, but we really should get our About view back. It's not that it's an important user feature, but it does allow us to reset our sample data, which is quite useful when we're testing our app. Let me switch to the iPhone storyboard, and I'll highlight our About iMusic scene. Hit Command-C to copy that, and Command-V to paste that into our storyboard. I'm going to zoom in on the music list view controller, and I'm going to delete its search button. So while I was away, I added an About bar button item to the details view. Let's take a look at the details view itself and see if we can maybe position this a little bit better. Let's highlight the About button, and I'll control and drag to the About iMusic view. And we want to make that a modal segue. Now if we highlight the segue and look at its properties, we can see we have some different options for our presentation and transition styles. Now I'll leave these on their defaults for right now, and I'll just run the app so you can get a sense for what this looks like. So clicking About will bring that up full screen. That does work in landscape as well. Doesn't look very good. But let's try out some additional presentation styles. So under transition styles, first of all, we can do some interesting things like cover vertical is what we're doing right now. But we can also say flip horizontal. So when I click About, we get this kind of fun effect. Probably not what we're looking for, however. We can do a partial curl. That's kind of fun. But I think the one we probably want and would make most sense is what's called a form sheet. A form sheet is a smaller sub-window that will be presented modally over the contents of your view, but won't completely obscure the content below it. And I'll change my transition style to default. Let me zoom in a bit. Let me also lay this out just a little bit better. So we'll center that. Let's make this font a little bigger as well. Make that a 46-point font. Center that. That looks pretty good. Just gonna let that float in the middle there too. All right, so let's run the app and see how that looks. Now we get this nice presentation style. And I think for something like an About view, this works perfectly. Now we can delete and reset our sample data again. Let's bring it up and rotate the device while it's being displayed. And that looks good. These modal form sheets are personally my favorite presentation of modal content in most cases when developing iPad applications. And I think it works really well for this type of dialogue. But definitely play around with some of those different presentation and transition styles and see which ones you like best and will best fit in your application. Another chapter and a lot of ground covered. We've created a universal version of our iMusic app with a split view based presentation of its UI, and I think it looks pretty good. We learned about UI interface idioms, communicating between master and detail views, and in this lesson saw how we can present modal content. Although we didn't have time to re-engineer our search UI, you should now have the skills needed to take that step on your own.